Hello everyone, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Joshua Bryant, aka Chaos Control Returns, and I'm dropping my very first discussion video. Now this video is it's going to be very broad. There will be a lot of different topics discussed, but it's just going to be all condensed into the following topic of why I feel that Sega needs to get back on the right track in terms of the Sonic franchise. Now, I'm not just specifically talking about gameplay. There's a lot of different things that I think how the gameplay should be, which I don't necessarily think Sega has a problem with per se. It's not like they haven't had any uh, any formulas that was just absolutely terrible. The adventure and boost formula serves their purpose as great gameplay styles. Whether you're more fond of one over the other is completely subjective. Objectively, both for the most part are decent gameplay styles. I personally prefer the adventure gameplay style, but that's just me. But that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about in terms of the actual characters, story, direction, how I feel the Sonic series should go. Now, I haven't been too huge of a Sonic fan. I'm. It's kind of like one of those things, like with the recent Star Wars movie, how everybody just seems to hate that Star Wars movie and say that Star Wars is dead. How deep down they're still Star Wars fans, but they won't be as invested in the series as they once were. It's like one of those things where I love what I love up until a certain point, but then everything else is just filler, or everything else is just it doesn't matter. Which is somewhat how I feel with the Sonic series since 2010. Now, I've gotten into the series. Funny story. Back when my mom was pregnant with me, she used to always play Sonic the Hedgehog, the 1991 Genesis one. And growing up, we had a Sega Genesis growing up. I can't remember what happened to it, but I used to always play the first Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis. I really didn't start wanting to become more aware of the franchise in general in terms of the characters and the story until 2008 when I played Sonic Heroes on my sister's Xbox. And don't at the time, don't ask me why, but I knew Sonic, and I also knew Knuckles, but I didn't know Tails, Rouge, Amy. Like, I didn't know none of the other characters, and I said, wow, this is really a problem. So I really just wanted to get involved more in the characters. Who was Sonic, who's Shadow, who's Amy, who's all these other great characters, and Sonic would be the reason why I aspired to become a developer, as well as travel to Japan, which I am currently doing now. So this franchise has basically gave me a lot of dreams, gave me a lot of hope, inspirations, and even forgot to mention I also want to do part-time voice acting. Like this series gave me so many inspirations, and looking back at it, it's hurtful to see the series the way it is because. Okay, so we have Ryan Drummond, we have Jason Griffith. Both, to me, are fantastic voice actors. My personal favorite is Jason Griffith, but when transitioning from Ryan Drummond to Jason Griffith, other than Sonic X Episode 1, where I can truly say Jason Griffith, he was just trying to get the hang of the character, and admittedly, he did not sound great at all. But I never really cringed when I heard him. It was other than that, it was actually a smooth transition over to Jason, because both of the voice actors I feel capture an essence of Sonic in a way. But when 2010 came and I heard Jason, they got rid of Jason to make Sonic sound more mature, which is obviously completely bull. I'm not even want to get into why that's completely bull, but they say, yeah, we want Sonic to sound more mature, so let's hire Roger Craig Smith and Roger Creston at the time, I had some high hopes. Like I love the Resident Evil franchise. It's one of my favorite gaming franchises, and I love his portrayal of Chris. Like I thought he was fantastic as Chris. Then to come to find out, he played in Assassin's Creed. He played Batman. Like there are so many like roles that Roger Creston has played, and it's like, oh man, he's great in all those roles. I'm pretty sure he'll make a great Sonic. Kid you not. As soon as I heard that voice, I was just like, ugh. Like it was just so, it was just everything is so wrong with that. But that's the voice acting. I got used to it when the Sonic Boom franchise, which God knows I wish that franchise didn't exist at all. But what got me really peeved about the direction is that, and I'm not the only one that saw or realized this, is that with each iteration or with each voice actor, Sonic was a different iteration of Sonic. So you have the Ryan Drummond version of Sonic where he's the hyper cool, always ready for adventure type attitude of Sonic, which a lot of people love and feel that that's what Sonic should be. Then you have Jason Griffiths, which is my personal favorite iteration of Sonic, where you had that hyper active, adventure loving hedgehog, but at the same time you have a mature and it's not sensitive per se, but you have this mature hedgehog to where he reacts in situations the way, the way it should be. Like for example, how in Unleashed when he got the power sucked out of him by Dargaea, and he was like, Chip, run! Like, he had a moment of panic in his voice. There was like a sense of discomfort and not knowing whether or not he's gonna make it, whether or not it's gonna be okay or not. Like I like that portrayal of Sonic. It shows that he can be the adventure loving, always strong-willed character, but he also can have a side of him that can show like when he's scared, or show when he's sad, or show he's depressed. And I felt that Jason Griffith transitioned from that perfectly. And then you have Roger Craig Smith, who this iteration of Sonic is the Ryan Drummond plus Jaleel White times 10. Like there are so many things wrong with the character of Sonic, and not just Sonic. All the characters have just been flanderized into what we used to, and Sonic Forces, Tails, by far one of the worst things Sonic Forces did was flanderize Tails' character to the point where he was barely recognizable. Like that was not Tails we seen in Sonic Forces. It was somebody who literally looks like Tails, who went through no development. Because if you remember in Sonic Adventure 1, this dude basically fought Chaos 4. He was able to take on Eggman, defeat his robot, and disable the bomb that Eggman was going to throw at Station Square. And Tails became a hero. Like, and then you look at Sonic Adventure 2, where he played an extreme role. He ended up catching up to the President's limousine when they needed to get information. Tails was like, okay, I'm on it, Sonic. And then you take a look at Sonic X and then what he achieves in there. And then like you just see this version of Tails now, and it's like, what the hell the writers were thinking. And then and then another thing that bothers me again is the writing. Ever since Sonic Colors, the writing in general has just been atrocious. It's been irredeemable how bad Pontek and Graf flanderizes characters. Now I know a lot of people gonna say Sonic Forces script wasn't written by Pontek and Graf. It was actually written by one of the Japanese people on the Japanese staff. And I by the way, check out Wendy's channel. I believe it's Wendy5152. Shout out to her. She's been translating the Japanese versions of the Sonic stories. The ones that interest me the most are the ones from Sonic Colors and Beyond, because the scripts do change for those. They're not like their English counterparts, and it it's funny how the Japanese translations, even though the English draft is the original draft of the story, it's amazing how the Japanese stuff can take that script, and despite all the flaws it has in those scripts, still make it where Sonic's still in character despite the bizarre changes that the creators decided to do with that. And it's incredible. I honestly think it's incredible. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sonic still does things that's out of character because, again, contact and grab. But it's when you read the Japanese script, it feels more like in character. There are things explained that are not even explained or attempted to be explained in the English version. Everything is just everything in terms of story, character has been bland and forgettable. There's just a lot of bad progression, bad, terrible progression, and it bothers me. It really does, because these aren't the same characters I grew to love. I grew to relate to. These aren't the same characters who inspired me to want to be a programmer, to want to be a part-time voice actor, to want to come out to Japan and experience the culture. This is not the same characters, and it really hurts, because I love this franchise, but I really feel like Sega needs to listen to the fans and have somebody there who actually knows Sonic, understands his character, and to be able to write a decent story. It doesn't have to be anything too light or too dark. Just write a decent story with a coherent plot, and write the characters. Make sure they all are well characterized, and just go on from there. And I know I said it doesn't matter whether the story's light or dark, but personally I feel that the story should be more dark. Back when Yuji Naka was coming up with Sonic, the main thing that Yuji Naka wanted to let people know right off the bat that he's the polar opposite from Mario. Mario was aimed to be more of a kid-friendly franchise. Sonic was going more of that teen route, where you can have like these colorful, vibrant environments, but it went more wanting to tell a story. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is like a great example of storytelling in Sonic games, and without even saying a word, it conveys a lot. And Sonic Adventure 1, Sonic Adventure 2, hell, Sonic Heroes to even a certain extent, even though that's like the most lighthearted story under Yuji Naka's supervision. Even Shadow of Sonic the Hedgehog, despite Shadow of Sonic the Hedgehog being very flawed in terms of story, I feel that the Adventure 1 and 2, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Secret Ring, Sonic Black Knight, those are the games that, to me personally, had Sonic's character down packed in terms of how he should be in the modern times. And Sonic Colors onward just completely ignore those character iterations of Sonic, because it's just bad. It's so bad. Again, it's almost unforgivable what Pontek and Grab has done with those characters. Now, I'm not saying they should be fired. I'm not, because I don't want nobody to lose their job, but I really want them to go back, watch all of the Sonic media, and really understand what and who these characters are. And because they came in not knowing anything about Sonic and only did like the minimum research, I'm talking about in terms of just watching a few clips off YouTube and then say, okay, we can write this character. Like, the fact that they did that is so disgraceful to the series, to the fans of the series, and it's even sadder because when you think about it, it tells you what Sega really thinks. It's like, we don't care if you mess up these characters. Hey, the characters you grew up loving, we don't care about that. These are who the characters are now. And the funny thing is, Sega Japan, like I said earlier, they rewrite the scripts, and they'll feel more like Sonic script despite having the original script be from Pontek and Grab. It's like, why can't we get this version of the script? Why do we have to get this very cruel, painful, inducing jokes into our script when we can have something that feels more like a Sonic game, or it feels more like Sonic. I mean, man, don't get me wrong, the Japanese person who wrote Sonic Forces never wrote for Sonic before, but even then, this person still captured more of Sonic's attitude. I realized that their Contact and Graph did make some changes to the script, even though they are minor, there's still changes they made to the script, like Sonic being tortured and Tails just lost their doubles or Contact and Grab things they just added in there for no reason at all. That wasn't in the original script. It's been generations since I've seen you. They added that in there, even though that kind of was not too clever. It was like, oh no, that's a little nod back to generations. But those little changes, about me kicking your butt when you said that to Zavik and all that other stuff, is just like, man, very uncharacteristic of Sonic, and I don't like it. Even when they're taking a script that they didn't write and just translating it, they mess it up. It's like, come on, just give us a direct translation. Well, not a direct translation, because I'm studying Japanese, and some things, when you like, if you want to do like a 100% direct translation, some things will not sound right. It just won't. So I'm not gonna say give us 100% translation, direct translation, but I will say give us a very, I'm talking about 95% or higher. Like Sonic Forces was like 85 to 90%. No, I don't want 80. I want 95 or higher. Like don't add no unnecessary jokes. Just keep the script how it was originally wrote. And again, this is not Sonic Unleashed. This is not Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic and Black Knight type material, but it still felt like more of a Sonic. It still felt more like Sonic. And this video was getting way too long. Oh, by the way, the footage you see in the background is my gameplay of Sonic Generations. I broadcast on Twitch, but since I'm currently in Japan, I'm not broadcasting at the moment. But if you like what you see, actually this is a very bad playthrough. I was going through some technical difficulties, so I wasn't playing my best. But if you are interested in seeing more, please follow my Twitch channel, BrianJoss1.twitch.tv. Anyway, thank you for listening to this quick rant there. Again, this is a very broad discussion of how I feel about the series, and I didn't even like really go in depth into a lot of things. Just gonna get some things off my chest, but I'm going to go in part specifically talking about just the voice acting, talking about just the stories, how they devolved over time, how the characters devolved over time, and basically how Sega went from the powerhouse they were to the company they are now. And with that being said, thank you for listening to me. Have a great day.